Welcome to Insight Builder channel. How to do warm-up practice for Django framework part 2. In the last video, that is part 1, we had seen how to do the get request, and also we saw how to do the one post request using the slug, the IDX slug in the Django framework. So we had been working on these various kinds of exercises on Django, and we had completed up to this part where we did the simple post request with the IDX. This IDX, this part is called as a slug. This slug can be of any type, that is, it can be of string or it can be of integer. At this moment, we are only concentrating on this integer slug. In this video, what we will do is we will move forward and we will work on the various other requests apart from get, that is post, put, delete, and then we will start working on dealing with the database tables. Without further ado, let us begin with our function generation function for the post with key value pair. Let's go to the views. We are going to use the CSRF exempt dictionary as usual. We are going to use that, and we are going to write the post with post with key value pair. So we can say key value, and we are going to call the request, and in this case we are not going to give any slug, so we are going to work with the post request directly. So for that, we have to first of all check whether the request is going to be coming in with post. That is first thing. And here you can actually look at the post output itself. So it's better that you take a look at the post output. It will be a query dict when the Django server gets the data from the post form. It will be the post form, and it will be in the form of query dict. So we can do a print on post on request dot post, and in this case we can try to extract the data. After you get the post, we can try to extract the data, and in order to extract the data, we can do a very simple activity, and we can do a JSON response, because the post request that we get will be in the form of the dictionary, and we can convert the dictionary, and we can give it as a JSON response back to the user. Let's continue with the return of the post request. We are just looking at how the request is coming, and then we are sending it back. This is the request data, and we are going to send that to the output. So we are going to say request.post, and this will be a query dict, and this will give a surprising result. So I want you guys to take the look at the result first. So before we move forward, we also need to give one more return statement. If there is an issue, if you are not going to send a post request to this particular view function, then it should be a HTTP response that will say there is an issue with the request. So that is a fallback that we are going to provide to the function. So we have created the function. Let us go to the URL, and let us go to the top, and we will start importing the new function that we created, post kv, the key value pair that we created. And now we are going to create the path for it, and we can say pkv. We are using a similar kind of function name to avoid confusion, and moreover these are functions that we will be using repeatedly in multiple warm-ups. So I am keeping it as simple for you to recollect. The more we are able to recollect fast, the better we can do the coding. So that's the idea of having these kinds of names. So the URL has been coded, and now the server is already running. The server is not stopped from the last discussion that I was having. So we have this new endpoint. I am going to call HTTP using the HTTPie library. I'm going to use that, and I am going to call a form object and create a post request on 8000 port. So this is a short form, where the full form will be like 127 HTTP colon / 127.0.0.1, and then it will be colon 8000. But this has been shortened in case of HTTPie, and I can call RA, that is the endpoint for the reapp application, and then I'm going to call PKV. After I call this endpoint, I need to give the some kind of a key value pair. So in this case, I'm going to say name equal to 1 and age equal to, I'm going to giving an integer, I'm going to say 25. Once I give this input, so I'm giving it as a form. So this means it is a form, and also I can actually make it as multi-part also. Instead of if, I can say multi-part. But the way the Django is going to look at this object or the request is what we are after. So let us execute this, and this will go to the server here, and let us see how is the response. And you can see that the response has been 200 OK, and we can see this is a request for the data and is giving me the complete query dict. You see, this is what I was talking about. So the form object actually goes as query dict into the post request. So if you have to use this query dict and extract the data out of it, then we need to do some data processing on the post request function. So let us go to the post request function now. In the post request function, first thing you have to do is you can actually call on this. You can call the dict method like this, and that will, here also you can call the dict method. This will actually convert the query dict into a dict object, dictionary object, that is. So let us, since we have modified it, let us execute it and see how is the response coming. So in this way, what will happen is when you are executing these things and learning how is the system, how is the server responding, it will be way more easier for you to debug. So here you can see that we have got the proper dictionary response. So the name is the key, value is 1, age is the key, value is 25. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to start further processing. Now that since we know that this is going to be a dictionary, I can create a data post dict, and I can actually create a dictionary by using request. Why I'm checking first whether it is a dictionary, whether it is a post, is that if I send unknowingly get request to this particular function, so how will that happen? I will be showing it in a couple of minutes. Before that, let me complete this. So I can change this. I can actually make it as post dict, and I can give it as a name and age. In our case, we know that we are going to give name and age, so that's why I'm hard coding this, or else I wouldn't be able to hard code it. I might have to do a couple of other things to work on that. I'll be showing you how that works. So just a minute, and here I'm going to use age. Okay, the post dict age and post dict name, both of the things I am executing it, and let us now execute this. We should be getting a proper response right now with the proper data that we provided to the post object. So let us do that. Let us execute it right now. You see that the server is already started after the system checks, after we modified it, and you can see the dictionary is here, and the output, this is the request data 1 and 1. So I think I made a mistake here, because this is the request data, name and age. Just a second, I am getting a wrong answer here. why is the wrong answer coming? So let me check the post dictionary. I am using post dict. This is the request data. The name is coming as 1 and I am giving age, but still the age is also coming as 1, but the age has to be 25. What is the error happening? So let us debug this. So let me do a print on the post dict. So probably there is a kind of a mismatch that has happened. So this is something that you will experience time to time, because whenever you are doing a warm up, you should know that there will be challenge. Yeah, now you can see that the output is 125. I think earlier it was there because I had made a mistake in the inputs, so that's why this error had come. But now let us actually try something else. So to this particular endpoint, so you see this is a pkv endpoint, that is post key value. If I send a get request, so if I send a request without any kind of a okay, first of all this will throw an error because I am sending so here it's saying there is an issue with the request. You can clearly see that the dictionary was not converted and it is expecting a post request. And once I send that, you can see that it is saying there is an issue with the request because the if request.post would have failed. So there was no proper post request, right? So it has failed. So like this, you can do the debugging. Now that we have understood how to send post request, next what we are going to do is we will see how to do put request. In case of put request, we are not going to modify a lot. We are only going to modify one thing. We are just going to modify this like this into put, and we are going to remove -f. So this is the modification that we are doing. And after that, if we send that same request to the function, there it will be operating in a different fashion. So I'll be showing you how to code the put request in the function. Let us go back. So in case of put request, you cannot actually check whether it is a put request using the request.post or request.get as you check it here. So it will be a plain request that goes as the string. So let us do a CSR of exempt also, just to avoid any kind of challenges. So I'm going to say put key value, and in put key value I'm going to send the request, and in the request I'm going to say print. I'm going to look at the request right now. So why I am looking at the request? There is a reason for this, because the request is going to contain the payload or the data that you are going to send to the put request. So let us do the print, and as of now I'm going to send a simple HTTP response, and I'm going to say testing the output. That's it. I'm not going to write anything else, and moreover I need to return it. If you forget to return, then it will throw an error. So even if you say HTTP response, you have to return that response. It's an object. Let us now do a put on this. Okay, one more thing that we missed. We have to add this function to the URLs. So let us do that. Put kv, and we are going to add this put kv, and here also put kv, put kv. So that's all that we need to do. We are ready with the new endpoint. So here we need to remove the put and remove this f. So we are ready with the request that we are going to send. Here it should be put kv. So we have seen that we have modified it here, right? So this put kv is coming here, and the request is going to be put. I'm going to execute this, and rest of the data that I'm sending is same. You see name equal to 1 and age equal to 25. But now I want you to look at the request and see how it compares. Here, when you see the request here, it is coming as WSGA request put, and it is giving me this particular value. And here it's saying testing input. So here it's not actually showing you any kind of data that has come through. That is because you have to decode the data that comes in. So for that you have to use this process. So I had missed one point here. I have to call request.body because the body contains the data. So let us execute this again, and let us see how what the body contains, because earlier whatever you saw, it was actually the request only, and now you can see that the body contains the string that has to be decoded right now, because now it is a bit bytes array, bytes format. You have to decode this. So in order to decode this particular data that is coming through the body, you have to use this option called as decode, and you have to decode it using UTF-8. If you, in case of this process, if you see the request that we are sending, it does not have the form switch here. If you use the form switch, then it will become wrong. You cannot use this put there in the form switch. So that's one of the main points I want you to remember. And once that is done, if I save it right now, and if you run the request again, you will see now it will be a proper string. But again, string also you cannot use it directly. You have to convert this string to JSON or dictionary object. So now you can see that the B is missing, right? So now it is a string. So, and one more point is that once you have read the data by using this particular step, request.body.decode, you cannot do that again. Only once you can read the data of the request body. So what you need to do is you need to convert it to dict request dict, and I can say JSON dot loads. So I'm going to convert the string that is already available inside this request, decoded request that is. And in order to do this, I need to import JSON module, import JSON, and now I have the data.dict.request, and now you can actually start working on the dict request, and it will be very similar to the post request that you got earlier. So what is the difference? So why this way of doing it? So sometimes you want to edit a particular data inside the database, or a particular information on a particular form, or a particular backend support. Then you can use this post option. You can see that this will be of type dictionary. So I will execute this right now. So there is an error somewhere. I think the error is here. Just a second. Yeah, the error is here. I'm going to remove that. So now that is matched. So let me execute it right now. The server is up and running. Let me execute it, and now you'll see that it will be of type dict. So the print statement that we have used here will show you that it is a class dict. And if we can now start getting the print output. So you, instead of saying testing the output, we can say the received put payload is dict request. So now you can actually operate it like a dictionary, and you can start getting the data that you want, and manipulate it on your database or the backend, as I already told you. You'll see that the output also is proper right now. It will actually show you that whatever we made it to print here, it will be printing it as a dictionary here. So that's about the put. Now when it comes to delete also, it is very similar to that. We are not going to modify much, but in case of delete, it will be more of a index slug only. So we will not actually give any kind of payload to it. We will usually give a index or a slug like this, the way we have done here. So all we are going to do is we can literally copy paste whatever we have done here, or any of the get also you can take it, but only thing is it will be sent as a delete request. The reason why we are sending it as a delete request is that whenever we are going to send a certain kind of a request, the response will be appropriately returned back. So that's why we have to send it as delete. So I'm going to put it as delete idx. So I'm going to say del idx, and the index to be deleted is in received delete request. Okay, and we don't need any CSR of exempt for this. We need to add this to the URLs. You can go up and you can add this to the URLs, delete index, and you can create a path for this. del I, and you can change the function. As you can see here, the more you are getting comfortable with this the URLs, the functions, and you are able to manipulate the requests at a very high speed, then you will get that confidence that yes, you are able to get the things done. So that is one of the key aspects of working with this kinds of warm-ups. So let me go here, and now instead of sending all this data, I'm going to just say Delhi, and I'm going to, okay, one more thing that I missed here, I need to give the slug here. So in order to give the slug, I'm going to say int idx. This idx has to match with this idx that you are calling here. This has to match, or else it will not work. And that's it. And let us go back, and if I give 1, and second thing is I need to change this request to del, and let us press enter. So this is all HTTP because I am not having any kind of security here, and it is okay. There is an error right now. So forbidden C, yeah, this is something that I wanted you guys to see. So I was thinking that, okay, for delete, we don't need CSRF but this is something that I also did not know. I was thinking CSRF exempt is not required, but it is asking. So all you need to do is just go back and copy this and paste it here. That's it. Now that error will be resolved. Let us execute this again, and let us see whether the error gets resolved. So it's going to take a moment. The server has started, and you see that the error has got resolved, and we have got the received the delete index request is 1. So now you have actually come up almost done a lot of activity in the warm-ups. So we have completed all these activities. In the earlier video, we completed up to the post with IDX, and in this video we saw how to work with put with key value, and also we can do the same put with IDX also. This is something that you guys can try. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to start working with the tables in databases. So now that you are confident to work with the basic put, post, get and delete, we can move to the next step and start creating database tables and start pushing data into the database tables. So for that, we need to start working with the models.py. So let us go to the models.py right now. Let me execute and go into the models.py. Just a second. So I am in models.py here, and Django is pretty helpful in these cases. It actually tells you that what is available immediately. So it tells you the models can be imported from django.db. So all you need to do is start creating the models. We are going to create 2 models. One is the owners and one is the task. Initially, what I was thinking is that I will create 2 tables without any foreign key relations. But then I felt that, okay, let us make the video a little more interesting, and I am going to create it with the relationship only directly. So I'm going to say class task, and it's going to import, it is going to inherit model from models module, and it is going to have a title. So these things, the column names, the column name type, etc., it is all fixed. Do not modify that between each of the warm-ups. Keep it simple and keep it same. Why I am telling is that it's most of the time what we feel is that we need to learn something new, and we miss the main idea. So if you are going to learn something new every time, you will not be able to practice that something that you already know. So you have to keep these things same for at least up to 5 to 6 warm-ups, and then you can modify it to new ones. So I'm going to say description. I'm going to keep it small, description, and the maximum I can go up to 500. I don't want a very long description. And then I can have a category. So here this is going to be integer field. The integer field usually don't have any kind of constraints that we need to provide. So that is that. Next, what we want is we want a class for owners. So I'm going to create a class owner, and this class is also going to inherit model class, and the owner will have a name models dot that will also be a char field, and max length. So now I told that there will be a relation between the owner and the task, right? So let us create an age for the owner. So models dot integer field, age is going to be integer field, and also let us create a mail ID. Owner will have a mail ID, and models dot email field. So that's that. You don't need to provide any kind of setup there. Since we are going to create a foreign key connectivity, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to the bottom. So in this way, what will happen is I can actually connect the class task with the owner using this foreign key connection. So I can say models dot foreign key, and I need to say owner, and on delete models dot cascade, models dot cascade, excuse me. Fine. So we have owner, and we have already connected it to the foreign key, and we have this. If you guys want, you can actually add some additional dunder methods, and you can make the class little more prettier. That's your call. As of now, I'm not going to add anything. And also you can add some more additional features, like converting the a particular column name into a slug. So that is that process also. If you want, you can actually learn about that conversion of, for an example, if you want to make this as name as a slug, and if you want to attach it back to this table, it is possible. You can do that. You can actually have it as a separate task, or a separate warm-up task for your future. As of now, I'm going to keep this simple. Once you have created the models, you need to migrate the models, you need to make the migrations, and you have to write the updated tables to the database. So for that, we are going to come back here, and we are going to say python manage.py, and we are going to say make migrations. So when I run make migrations, what will happen is it will go into the apps, and it will search for the new tables that has been created, and it has seen that there is a new table created in this reapp, and it creates the migrations. Next, I need to manage.py and do migrate. So now this is one of the important tasks that I have completed. After this, I need to start, first of all, populating the table, because I cannot read what is there inside the table without populating it. So I need to create some post requests. This is where you learn a lot of stuff now. So we have these models right now. If you go back to the views, so let me close this. If you go back to the views, here we need to start importing some new things. So we need to go from .models, import task and owner. So VS Code is really good in these things, so it immediately pulls whatever is available. Now that is done, let's go down and let us actually do some put. It's going to be CSR of exempt, not actually put. We are going to do a post, and we are going to create owners first. So for that, we are going to say create owner, and we are going to say request, and this request is going to be a post. So we are going to check request dot post. It has to be a post first of all, or else we cannot proceed. And we are going to extract the post data into a dictionary. So we are going to say post dict, and we know that request.post will be a query dict. So in order to convert this to a regular dictionary, all you need to do is use this function. And in order to write this dictionary into the database, into this particular table, all you need to do is use the key value arguments with double star. So all you need to do is you have to say write owner is equal to owner, and here you have to just say double star, and you have to say this post dict. So this will unwrap the dictionary, and it will assign it internally to owners, create a owner object, and then you can write owner save. That's it. So this will actually write the data to the database, and here you can say return HTTP response. So everywhere there should be HTTP response, write of owner successful. Owner, you can actually try to tell what owner was written. So you can say the owner name here, that will be a little bit better. Succeeded, right? So when you look at these things, when I'm typing it, it might feel that, okay, how am I able to find these things, so fast? I'm not even referring anything. This is happening especially because I have done this a lot of times, almost 10 to 15 times already I've done. That is just for practicing. Apart from that, I worked on a couple of projects also. So this has become a second nature to me. And I want a similar kind of second nature to everybody. And that's why, I'm sharing and, insisting that you do this practice also. If in case it fails, if the request is not a proper post, or if there is some other issue, then we are going to give a HTTP response that the post failed. That's it. And we cannot actually say who is the owner name or what is the post request, etc., because we are not even able to read the post request here. So that's the reason. Now we have created this create owner function. We are going to attach that to a create owner endpoint. Straightforward. So we are going to say C owner. Let's keep it simple, and I'm going to remove this. And before that, I need to import the create owner. So I'm going to import the create owner. Here you don't need to import the model path because the model path is already imported in the views. I'm going to say C owner, and that's it. So that part is done. Next, we need to send. So you need to be aware that we need the name, age, and mail ID. So all these three things are required when you're going to send the post request. So let us keep this open, and we are going to send a post request. So the post request will be sent as HTTP and form. That's very important. We are not creating a form in the front end right now. We are actually creating a form that is being sent from the command line. If you're going to create it from the front end, you will have a different process altogether. You'll need HTML for it. You'll need a HTML form and text boxes with the names, and that name will contain these names, that is name, age, and mail ID. So that's how it works. And let's proceed. So if I say HTTPF post, I'm going to throw it on 8000 port with the endpoint is the endpoint. You can go and re-verify the endpoint that you have created. The endpoint is C owner, right? So we are going to say C owner, and now here is where the difference is. So I'm going to say name owner 1. You can see I am not actually attaching any kind of single quotes or double quotes on this value. It will be automatically converted to string when it goes into the post request. And moreover, you saw that it will be transferred as bytes, and then it will be converted to string, then it will be converted to query dict. So there will be lots of processes happening in the backend, so you don't need to worry about this. And also it's a single equal to. I am not using double equal to. Name is one thing. Second thing that I need to send is the age is going to be, let us say 35, and name, age, and email ID. So let us look at the model. It's called as mail ID. It's very important that you give the appropriate names that is provided here, because what we have done is, in case of the views, we have directly used this double star, right? This double star. So if you give any wrong key values here, then this will error out. So keep that in mind. So mail ID, and mail ID is owner 1 at localhost, right? Press enter. So I'm going to send the post with the form format, and I'm going to send it to the C owner endpoint, and you can see that it says the right of owner 1 succeeded. That's good, right? So we understood everything that goes through, and that's how we got it right, or else it will have been difficult. So let us actually do something. Let's go back to the views, and let me actually show you the post dict so that you guys can understand what's happening. So let me do a print, and let me do a post dict, and also let me do a print, and here you cannot actually do a unwrap directly on the print So you cannot do an unwrap like this inside the print. So this is something, unwrapping the key value arguments is something that you guys have to understand. Try to review the Python basics so you will understand this part. Okay, let me execute this and let me show you what is happening. But this time I will be using a different owner. So I want the owner 2 to be registered, and his age is going to be somewhere around 27, and his name is going to be owner 2. And let us execute this. So when I execute this, here you will see that his, first of all, the owner 2 will get pushed into the database, and also here we will see the output also. So you see the name owner, age 27, mail ID is owner 2 at localhost.com. So this is how you review each and every part of the request that you are sending into the Django web server. Now that we have written the data to the database, we need to read the data, and reading the data is done through get. So reading the data is pretty straightforward. Let us do that. Let's go back again. Remember that the purpose of this video is not to show you how the Django framework or how these functions are working or the requests are working. It's about, you know, taking this information and practicing it on your own. You can use this video as a reference or you can use it for a discussion also, but the idea is that you need to practice it a couple of times. So let me say get owners is what the function I'm going to have. I'm going to send the request, and the request is going to be a simple get. I'm going to say owners list, owners dict, because it's going to be a query dict output, and it is going to directly query the owner with objects all, and it's going to send the values. So this is how the methods are working inside Django. I'm not going to explain this, as I already told, and this has to be a list, right? But when I'm going to send this data out to the wild, I have to send it through a JSON output, and I cannot send it as HTTP response. I can, if I have to send it as HTTP response, then I have to convert this list into a different format. So what we can do is we can actually use something called as JSON response. So for JSON response, what we need to do is we have to use something called as JSON response object. So where will you get the JSON response object? That's one of the questions or the things that you might forget. So we need a type of a response, and the responses are usually present in the HTTP and response. If you go into this, you can say import, and you can actually import the JSON response. So this is a response object that is present inside the response module. You can go down right now and you can create you can actually convert this into a dictionary, and you can send the JSON response. So if I say return, and if I say JSON response, and I can create it as create a key here, output owners, and to the value I can attach this owners list. Actually, it should not be a dict, it should be a list. So I'm going to say owners list, because there will be multiple owners, right? List, and then we are set. So we can go to the URLs right now, and we can go up, we can import the get owners, and we can come down, we can create a URL path, we can say get owners, and we can also update this to get owners. Get. So you can see that most of the things I am, you know, just modifying a couple of characters, not the complete words. This is also the pattern that I am following, so that the amount of work that I need to do and the data that I need to remember regarding the variable names is lesser. I have fixed this, and this is going to be a simple get request right now. Let us now go back and let us actually call HTTP. There is no need for saying it's a get request, and I am going to say array, and I am going to say get owners. Let me recheck. Yeah, it's get owners, and I need to put a slash here, and I'm going to check the output. So let us see what happens. So most of the time, once you become really confident, you will see that you will not face any kind of challenges, but a couple of times you will end up in deep trouble. So it's here, it's saying that the object of type query set is JSON, not JSON serializable, meaning that I actually overshot. So this particular owners.list, I cannot directly put it into a kind of a JSON dictionary object, and I cannot send it as JSON response. I need to create it as a proper dictionary and then place it inside that. So what I'm going to do right now is, because this is a series of query dicts that has been returned from the database, so I cannot do directly send it into the JSON response. So I need to say dicts here back. So I'm changing the name so that I can create a owners list. So owners list I'm creating. So I'm going to say for owners in owners dict, I'm going to manually extract the data. So I'm going to say owners list. So a couple of methods that I'm using here, and the patterns that I'm following is directly linked with how well you know Python. So if you are facing some challenges with the code that I'm using, try to write the comments on the code, and the code will be shared with you guys. Try to write the comments and see whether you understand the code properly. Only when you write the comments, you will know that whether you understand or not. If you are not able to understand, you have to execute the part of the code and see whatever you are understanding and whatever the code is outputting is correct. So that's how I learn. I'm going to say owners.name, and let me copy this. I'm going to say age. This is going to be age, and here it's going to be mail ID, and here I'm going to say mail ID. Mail ID, that is done. And now I can directly send the owners list through JSON response, because I have created it as a proper list that can be JSON serializable. Because this list, owners list, has been manually created and appended, populated with this particular for loop. Let us execute this. And also I want you guys to take a look at this output so that you can appreciate what has actually happened. Owners dicts. Let's right now execute. So now you will see that entire process that goes through when this particular get owners function gets executed. So here you can see that still I'm facing the error, and the first and foremost, you can see this query set is the query set is returning me 3 data. So it's returning me ID 1. It's actually returning me 2 data, sorry. So the error here, it's more into the way we have got the data. So let us actually try to change this into something else. So let us actually go back, and instead of trying to use the dot notation, let me use the actual long form of this. So we can say owners age, and we can say owners mail ID, and I'm going to remove this, and here I'm going to put the comma to avoid the error. So now that we have done this, let us see whether this goes through. So breaking, if things break during your example, during your warm-up like this, you should actually know how to revert back and how to find the solution. So here again, I have modified that. Even after that, I'm getting a new error. So these kinds of error are pretty common even when you're doing warm-ups. So this is one of the points that I wanted to highlight. It is not wrong to get errors during your warm-up. You have to get errors. You have to recover from the errors. That's very important. And one of the easiest way to recover from the errors is to actually have a backup example files which you can refer and recover. So that's one of the easiest ways. So here it is saying, in order to allow non-dict objects to be serialized, set safe parameter to false. So it is telling that when I'm going to send this JSON response, I need to set the safe parameter to false. So there is a problem when it comes to sending the dictionaries directly. So once I do that, it will get updated here, and I'm going to send this request for getting the owners. So let us see how this works right now. And you can see that the server has returned me a 400, it has returned me a 200 reply. You can see that here, and you can see in the output I have got the proper dictionary data as a list. So you saw that sometimes, even though we are doing warm up, even though I've done it a lot of times, that I missed certain things and I don't remember that I need to put safe. So it's okay. You need to also remember that once you get into these kinds of hiccups, you need to recover faster. And once you recover, you will become more confident. Okay, now we have the owners into the database, but in order to get the tasks into the database, we need to connect the owner and the task that we are going to provide. So whenever you are going to send a task request, or whenever you are going to load the task into the database, we have to attach it to a owner. So how are we going to do that? So that's one of the points that you guys have to understand when you're doing the post request. So let us do that. Let us first of all create a post request this time, and CSRF exempt, and definition post task. So we are going to post the task. This is going to be a request that I'm going to directly send, and in the request I am not actually attaching any kind of a slug. But think about it, there are two ways actually you can do this. Either you can attach a slug as the owner as a slug itself, so you can actually say owner here, and in the slug you can actually say owner 1, owner 2, etc., and you can do the post. Or the other way is that you can give the input of the owner name in the request itself. So let me first of all do that. So let me do request. Let us check whether the request is a post, and once we get the post request, what we are going to do is we are going to get the post data into a dictionary. And once you get it in the dictionary, it's pretty straightforward from there, right? All you need to do is extract the owner information from there. So owner name is going to be post data owner, right? So this should be the key, or this should be the form name that you're going to use for getting the owner, and the rest of the parts we can actually extract it. So we can say task, we can say title. I'm extracting it ahead of time so that you can use it easily. So post data title, title, and I'm going to say description is equal to description here. This is all related to the task that you are asking for. Title, description, category is equal to post data category, right? All of these things have been extracted, but now one more important thing that we need to do is that we need to get the owner object. So we cannot directly use some kind of SQL to do the connectivity. So we need to take the owner object from the database and then send that owner object into the task object. So for that, you are going to say owner object is equal to, we are going to do a get list or 404. So this is one of the helper function that we have, to which we are going to send the owner class, and we are going to send on name is equal to owner name. So this is how we are going to filter, and we are going to get that particular owner object. And this owner object will be a list, so you need to use 0 here. So all these things, that whatever I have done here in the beginning, when you're doing it the first time, you might actually end up missing this 0. You might actually end up not using this name or this owner class. You will face a lot of errors. Believe me, it's not going to be straightforward. But as and when, once you start following this video, once you start creating, doing more warm-ups, you will be able to correct it step by step. So the idea is that here I'm doing it to show you guys, but the more you do the warm-up, the better you will get at it. Now that I have created all these things, I can now send it into the task object. So write task, and into the task object, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a task object, and for the task object, I need to give a lot of information, right? So owner is going to be owner object, title is going to be the title that we got above, title equal to title. I'm using the parameters value directly so that you guys can understand what is going on. The parameters that I'm using here is already created here in the task, so it should be same or else it will fail. So I'm going to do that, and finally I have the category is equal to category, right? And once that is done, I'm going to write the task and save it. Once that is done, I'm going to give a return a response. So return HTTP response, writing the task is succeeded, right? It has succeeded. If there is an issue with any of these things, if the request.post itself fails, then I can say return HTTP response, there was an error. There was an error. And see, here I'm not capturing the error. If any of these particular names are wrong, if there is a problem in this get list or 40, if there is an issue with the owner name itself, then it will error out here itself and it will send a 404 to the requester. So that's one thing it can escape. But if I am writing this task and if there is an issue with the way I have created this object, then it will not actually tell that this particular, it will not actually send this error. So it will literally say that this particular task failed or this particular object creation failed, and it will error out. So let us write this. And yeah, now we need to attach this post task to the URL. So we can do that right now by importing the post task, and I'm going to do a paste here, post task, and post task. So the names that I'm giving for all the URL endpoint, the name, the function name, everything is same. So this is one of the important heuristics that you can follow. And now I am going to create the post request right now. HTTP form post at 8000 port, and I'm going to say array post task, and I have to give a couple of things now. So I need to give owner equal to owner1, title equal to task1, description equal to first task, category has to be a numerical, I'm going to say 0, right? That's all. So now that this particular form post I'm going to execute, and let us see what happens. So basically this will go to the post task endpoint, and here it is saying that request item task is not a valid. Okay, so I think whenever I created this the first task, I should not have used this single quotes. So I'm going to remove that. There's still the error, so let me understand what is the issue. So I'm sending this, it is saying the usage is wrong. HTTPF post 8000 RA post task, and yeah, the issue here is that I think I have missed this slash here. Because of the missing of the slash and also missing of this double quotes, both are creating the problem. And also let me check here whether I have put us, yeah, here the task is there. Let us execute this right now. So most of the time now the task is succeeded. You can see that we have got a 200 output, and we have actually pushed one task, that is for owner 1, right? We will do it for owner 2 also. So let us keep everything same, and we are going to do the same thing for owner 2, right? what we can do now is, now that we have pushed the task into the database, we can read the task, right? So what you can do is, we can actually, just to give a change, so I'm going to do something different. So I'm going to first of all create an endpoint. So I'm going to say all task, which is usually not the case. You don't do this way. You write the function, view function, and then only come here. So you can see that it actually throws an error that there is no all task at all, right? So that's why I told that you have to first of all write the function in the views. And anyway, now you can actually import the all task, but there also it will say that all task is not available. So you can see that it's not available, so it's not automatically getting populated. So you can go to the views, and here you can do an def all task. This is going to be a simple get request. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask for all the tasks available. So tasks equal to, and remember, this is going to be a query dict output, right? So the same way we created the dictionary, we need to create it manually, and then only we can take it out. So objects all value, and then we need to create task list equal to empty list, and I'm going to say ts in tasks, because I'm going to process it, and I'm going to extract each and every task into this list, and I'm going to append it. And here I'm going to take the title. So I'm going to say ts title, description, ts description, there should be a space here, and category, ts category. Once all these three things are done, I can actually use the JSON response. Now I can say return JSON response, and I can send the task list that has been populated. And let me execute this. So in the beginning, when we did this, it was difficult. You will not be able to remember the names. You will have to go and refer the models, and you will have to refer the views appropriately. You might have to even look at the output that is coming from the response. All these things will be little more challenging in the beginning, but as you do it a couple of times, this particular process will become very, very streamlined inside your head. So that's very important. Now we have already connected this all task with the URLs. You saw that in the beginning itself. So this is already connected. I'm going to run HTTP excuse me, HTTP and 8000. This is going to be a, excuse me, it's going to be a regular get request. I'm going to say all task slash, and I'm going to execute it. So this is going to pull all the tasks from the database, from this database that we created with this model, and we have an error now. Again, the same issue that we have to set safe equal to true, safe equal to false. So you have to go here. You have to go in this location. You have to say safe equal to false. That's it. That should work. Let me execute this. So now you will see that we are able to get the tasks that has been pushed into the database. So if you want to further work on a couple of additional steps, you can do. You can actually try to edit the tasks. You can edit the owners by using the put. You can delete the owners, and you can all these are additional tasks that you can add to this warmups. So if you go here, if you scroll down, you can add these additional tasks. So you can actually add the process of updating the owner name or email ID. That is one task that you can try. For this, you need to use the put request, delete the owner based on owner name, then update the task description. Usually description is updated, right? Or task title. So each of these things will be separate endpoint if you think about it. And you can delete the task based on the task ID. So all these things are additional warm-ups that you can add into this series of warm-ups, and you can try it out. I have not done this in this case. You can actually add it up and you can do the practice, and you can see how the output looks. And I'm pretty sure after doing all these things for a couple of times, once you come to this series of tasks, it will be very simple. So with that said, just a second. We have come to the end of the part 2 of many Django framework related practice warm-ups that we are going to plan. We have seen that in this discussion how to do the posts, the regular post without actually having a database itself, and then we started creating the database tables of both owners and tasks. We understood how we can push the data for owners, and then we also understood how we can connect the owners with the task and then push it to the database for the tasks. That was the second thing. And then we retrieved all the information from the database using the get request. We did this all, and we learned a lot of ways the things can fail, and also how you can recover, like especially with the JSON response, how to give the input to the JSON response, how to take the output by using safe equal to false. All these things we reviewed. Now we know how to actually send the data and pull the data out of the Django backend server. Now you can actually continue. So I'll be continuing more on this series of warm-ups. I'll be starting to integrate the large language models into this into this schema of warm-ups, where you will be introducing where I'll be introducing Olama, which I already have a couple of videos, and also I will try to introduce how you can build applications that can interface your backend with your large language models. So stay tuned for that in the part 3. See you guys. Have a great time.